Howdy. Today we're looking at Mesa and blast damage on her regulators, and whether or not it's worth using. Because adding AoE to Mesa could be pretty nice, pretty beneficial, other than blast being an option now, as well as other stats effects not being terrible. The Jade Shadows update also had the armor change happen, which makes Mesa much better since squeezing armor strip, or at least a full armor strip, into her build is really difficult to do. So now the fact that partial armor strip is actually viable, it's a lot easier to make her do a big PP damage. Now, in case you're interested, this is the Mesa fashion for anybody that's going to ask about that if somebody were to. So let's go to our regulators. This is what I've got going on. Now, if we're going to use blast damage, we need actually good stats chance. That's why I'm not using any of the primed mods, right? Like primed heated charge. I'm using Scorch instead because it gives us the extra damage. Now, I'm like 90% certain Galvanized Shot works on her regulators, but it gives us direct damage per status type affecting the target. And, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just on the gun alone, that's a lot of damage. Plus status chance, Frostbite and Scorch, so we get Blast and status. Pistol Pestilence, so we get Toxin and status, and you'll see why we want Toxin here in a second. Other than the fact it's just nice and it can bypass the shields of Corpus. Galvanized Diffusion, I don't have it maxed, that would help our damage. We got crit chance from creeping bullseye, crit damage from primed target cracker. I suppose if you wanted, you could go prime pistol gambit instead of creeping bullseye. Maxed out, it's only like 13% less crit chance, but I don't have it maxed out right now, and I do like having the extra bit of crit. So this is the Regulators build. For Mesa, we do have Nourish. I'm not a big fan of putting Nourish on a bunch of frames, but in Mesa's case, it's very nice because she really needs the extra energy. And adding Viral to her regulators helps a lot with the damage in high-end content. So Nourish is just really, really good for her, more so than a lot of other frames. Then we also are running Combat Discipline with Arcane Avenger, so we can proc it consistently for the extra 45% flat crit chance, giving us guaranteed at least yellow crits, and giving us a 20% chance for orange crits. Arcane Velocity, because it works on regulators, giving us a 120% fire rate. Archon Continuity, so that we get corrosive status effects every time we apply Toxin, which is why we want Toxin on our regulators, so that we get some level of armor strip. I don't have it maxed, but it's just 10% extra duration, so it's not necessary. It would be nice if it was maxed. We have Energy Nexus to help our energy economy, which with Nourish is pretty decent. Narrow-Minded for duration and range is pretty relevant here. Streamline for more efficiency. Blind Rage for damage. Prime Flow for energy max. Precision Intensify so we can get more strength on our 4, because that's all we really care about. And we don't want more strength on Nourish, because while we would get more energy, we want our viral weighting to not be too high, so don't go too much into total strength. Precision Intensify is definitely the way to go for our Peacemaker. Mesa's Waltz is optional. If you want, you could go Prime Sure-Footed, Normal Sure-Footed, or Handspring, or even Power Drift if you want the extra ability strength. It's really up to you. It's totally dealer's choice, right? Like whatever you decide you want. Equilibrium for even more energy economy, though if you feel like you don't need it, you could go without it. That's up to you. Now, we are lacking survivability in this build. A bit of survivability would be nice. So if you feel like you can get by on energy by removing one of these 2 or even 3, or sorry, 1 or 2 of these 3 mods, right, like Streamline, Energy Nexus, and Equilibrium, you could run something else that gives like more survivability, catalyzing shields, and an auger mod, maybe, or go for a big shield gate instead. Like, let's say, take this off, put on Briel's Hatred gives us a... Our shield gate still isn't very big though, but it does give us some efficiency. And then you could replace Energy Nexus with... Where is it? Fast Deflection. Now we have decent shield recharge. This, look, 72.4% shields per second with only a 0.6 delay is pretty good, if you ask me. And then, if you really didn't need energy, you could get rid of Equilibrium for Vigilante Fervor, giving us... we get almost all of our shields back. 95.3% per second with a 0.3 delay. That's pretty good. That's really freaking good, actually. But then you may have some energy problems, and by may I mean you more than likely will, because now we've got no Energize, we've got nothing here to give us energy back. But if you have other ways, like, I don't know, Zeneric, yeah, here, you could just run Zeneric, and that would help a lot. So, yeah. And secondaries, if you have the Grimoire with its special Grimoire mods, I do not have any of the mods, but going ones for like strength and energy regen or efficiency would be really good for Mesa as like a stat stick, just to give you extra stats. We have Zorus here, because it's nice, it can do good damage, melee influence, because it has forced electric procs, and we're mainly using this for Mark of the Beast, so we can get status and crit for our Regulators, for even more crits and, you know, more blast and toxin, thus corrosive procs and viral procs, all of that jazz, the sort of stuff that you like. So let's go ahead and look at how it does. Cast Nourish, come over here, and we'll start killing them. Now I'm going to do this without the buff from Zorus. You can see that this is pretty good. This is definitely better than it was before Jade Shadows, without a doubt. I was struggling to get Mesa to kill guys like these anywhere decently fast before Jade Shadows. Her Regulators just struggled too much, but they're much better now. And having a bit of AoE, like these guys aren't super close together, so the blast isn't insane, but blast can give some AoE to it. And you can group them as well. Now, if you group the enemy, you will run into an issue though. Like, let's use Nautilus for example. Grab our energy again, simulate, cast Nourish. So we go over here, and they all get pulled in. The problem is our Regulators aren't going to target the same enemy every time. So it's not really going to proc many blasts, or like any big blast explosions for a while. But once it does, it starts destroying them. But you saw it took a while before it did start destroying them. So it can be good and bad. I guess it really depends. When you have a smaller group, it actually works better. Like if you have not 20 enemies group, like a group of 10 enemies would probably be perfect. Because then you get the overlapping explosions, but you don't have so many enemies that you can't proc enough status on the same enemy. But you don't have to run grouping. I actually think I would rather not have it, to be totally honest. Then you can always get the Zorus kills or any glaive you want with Mark of the Beast, so that you can get all of those juicy stat bonuses from it. The crit chance and status chance, you can see it on the top left. Reset these enemies. I need to try to get over here and get our buffs going before it runs out. Now look. Here, we'll reset this. Lots of orange crits. Pretty good, I'd say. Pretty decent. I think Blast is probably what I'm going to run all the time on Mesa now. If you don't care about Mark of the Beast or anything, another incredible option for Mesa that is the play 100% of the time, to be totally honest, would be, where is it? Secondary Outburst. Max this out because it works on her regulators, so that every combo count gives 20% crit chance and crit damage. That's huge, 240% at max combo. It consumes your combo when you switch from your melee to your regulators, though. But what I found when I had it before I sold it, because I did have it and I had tested it, is that you really can be on any weapon and it will always proc every time you switch, as long as you have the combo. So then you just have to run a melee where you can always have your combos. The easiest one to do that with would be Ceramic Dagger. You get 20 initial combo from this evolution. 100 initial combo can stack up to after getting primary weapon kills. So that's already 120 out of the 240 initial combo you need. So if you want to get the rest, you can run stuff like, let's see, Covert Lethality gives another 16. Then you've got Corrupt Charge for another 30. So all of that together, that's going to be 166. So, and only the 106 max, because every 20 gives another combo. So that's decent. Still not as much as, you know, not the most you can get, but you can also, if you get Melee Crescendo, you can use this to get the last that you need. You will need to get finisher kills to build it up. So you're going to need something to stun enemies. But a good option for that is a Bronco. This is the normal Bronco. I don't remember if Ak Bronco can use it or if it has to be the normal version of Bronco. I think Ak Bronco can use it, but there's an augment you can get that shows up in Nightwave sometimes, and you can buy it from other players, right? Get it from Trade Chat, called Dizzying Rounds. Dizzying Rounds. I'm gonna hope I spell it right. I did. This right here. Shots from less than 8 meters stun enemies and open them to finishers. That's really good. All you gotta do is walk up, shoot them, stun them, finish them. Bam, there you go, you're done. So you would just run Ceramic Dagger with a finisher build, and then you would have Outburst on your Bronco and Dizzying Rounds, and you'll be able to get tons of extra damage on your regulars. 240 more crit chance, 240 more crit damage, and you'll be able to get the finishers off to build that up, right? Because Dizzying Rounds. Very much worth it. Your primary weapon is really whatever the hell you want. I mean, Miter's nice to break nullifiers, so you can go with that, or Heck is a good option for if you need to kill a big chunky guy. I did try Scourge with its headshot domes it makes, but it kind of seemed finicky. Like, it sometimes Mesa wouldn't target them. So I would not use Scourge for that. Ventus gives like a slight fire rate buff, but I don't think it's like really worth it. But if you want to maximize your regulators, I suppose you could go with it. It doesn't really matter. But if you aren't running Nautilus for grouping, then I would recommend Worm, because Worm is really easy to get Reinforced Bond maxed out on. Reinforced Bond, 60% more fire rate. Tenacious Bond for another 1.2 final or crit damage final multiplier, so then you just run a weapon like Volklock or Volcax, which you can craft in Fortuna and get 50% crit chance on. Like this, you can craft this and just slap Point Strike on. There you go, the 50% crit chance on your weapon, which is needed to proc Tenacious Bond. Plus, then, you know, you get Negate and Guardian, Manifold Bond, just for a lot of survivability to help Mesa not die. Or, I'm actually not sure. We're going to test this in action if if Prisma Shade's Invis breaks from your regulators. I'm going to go ahead and take a fat guess and say yes. I don't have the mod equipped, either that or it only works on enemies that aren't paused. I don't have the mod equipped. Okay. That's embarrassing. Let's try that again. I'm still not sure though if it works on enemies that are paused. We'll find out here in just a second, I guess. No, they have to be unpaused. Which isn't a problem in mission, obviously, because, you know, enemies aren't paused when you're outside of the simulacrum. Okay, does it break? Yes, yes, it breaks it. That's unfortunate. Well, now we know. I had never tested that, but now I did, and now we know. I'd say that gets the point across. I would go into a mission to test Mesa, but I mean, I think she's pretty obvious, right? Like, she destroys most content unless you're going into stuff with super thick enemies like level cap, in which case you'll probably get fucked. It might be doable now, though. After the Jade Shadows, I think Mesa level cap with Regulators is possible without wanting to, like, off yourself in GTA. I should probably try that out. I think I'll try that out at some point. That's gonna be it for the video on Mesa, though. If it would let me exit the arsenal. There we go. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. There is going to be a link to the Discord in the video description as well. Adios.